Well, hey there, everybody. We are just waiting on a few more folks, but just being conscientious of everybody's time, I think we can probably get started here. My name is Kevin Farrell. I'm the Marketing, Communications, and Policy Manager here with the Lethbridge Chamber of Commerce. We are really happy today to be hosting our virtual town hall on the mandatory recycling and organics program that's upcoming. Today we've got Felipe Albuquerque from the city of Lethbridge to present to us. He is um, a waste diversion engineer with the city of Lethbridge. And without further ado, I will turn things over to Felipe.
Hi, thanks so much, Kevin. I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks for the invitation. And thanks everybody that are here today to listen a little bit more about the business and organizations, mandatory recycling and organics. So yeah, we'll start over here. So here we go. Okay, so here I just bring a little bit of the background and timeline. So everything starts in 2008 when the city completed a waste diversion prevention master plan and identify the business and C&D sector as the major waste generators in Lethbridge. So in 2013, we started with the ICI, which stands for Industrial, Commercial, and Institutional. We started with the ICI Waste Diversion Strategy. In 2015, the strategy was approved by the council, and then in 2018, the targets of this strategy was revised. Then in 2020, we indeed started implementing the mandatory recycling for the ICI sector and with the surcharges that we will explain a little bit later. But just after we started with the implementation of the mandatory recycling, COVID happened. So we had to suspend the full implementation. And we come now to 2023 when we are relaunching the mandatory recycling, and now the time overlaps for the introduction of the mandatory organics as well. So we are implementing both programs at the same time. Our goal is to achieve 45% waste diversion by 2030. So here I have the targets, as I have mentioned, that were revised by the council in 2018. As we can see here for 2021, the generation for the ICI sector was 428 kilograms per capita, which was just below the target for that year. So it was a quite good number. We don't have the closed numbers for 2022 yet, but I believe but so far it seems that the number will be very similar as well. For the C&D sector in 2021, the generation was 125 kilograms per capita. As you can see, is even below our end goal target. So the C&D sector has been performing very well since the start of this strategy. And I'm sorry, I don't know if I mentioned, C&D stands for construction and demolition. So in a nutshell, what the bylaw requires from the business. So basically there are 4 requirements that all the businesses need to abide by. So the first one is to provide adequate containers and storage areas for recyclables and organics to all employees, visitors, and contractors. The bylaw brings flexibility for the business, so we are not telling you how many containers you need to have, what are the standards. What the bylaw says just that they need to be maintained in good conditions and that they have to be provided in sufficient number and locations and of sufficient capacity. And also it needs to be appropriate for the type of recyclable materials that they are being used for to prevent litter and deterioration. And here, those 2 last bullet points are very important. So they need to be at the same convenience of garbage containers, which means that you just have one recycling station, one centralized recycling station in your business and a lot of garbage containers spread to the floor. This is not enough. So it has to be the same convenience. And also very important, you have to ensure that all your recyclable containers and bins, they have proper signage. And we have some tools that can help you with that. I will explain a little bit more in the sequence. The second one, you have to provide removal and processing of your recyclables and organics to a facility authorized by law. Then the third one, the bylaw require that all employees to be trained as well on how to use the adequate containers and storage areas. It has to be provided at least once a year, so you need to repeat this training every year, and you have to provide it within 30 days to new employees. And every time that a substantive change in your waste collection happens. We also will have some tools to help business complying with that we'll also explain later. And finally, the bylaw requires a self-compliance report. I will show how this report look like in the sequence as well, but it's something very, very simple. So every year, business will need to send this self-compliance report, but you don't have to worry about it in 2023. The first self-compliance report is due on January 31st, 2024. So you have the entire year to adapt. So who is included in the bylaw? Basically, all the business and organizations, from a small store in downtown to a big factory, even like food trucks operating in Lethbridge, they need to abide with this bylaw. The only exception are the home-based business. So the bylaw say that if you are a home-based, you can continue to use your black and blue cards, and the soon to come the green for the organics as well. And here again, just to bring some numbers, as I mentioned before, as you can see here, historically, the business sector and the C&D sector have been generating something around 2/3 of all the garbage that arrives in our landfill. So even small waste diversions in those sectors, they can make a big difference in the overall waste generation in Lethbridge. Okay, so the ins and outs. What do your businesses require to recycle and to send to the organic bin? So basically what the bylaws say is that all recyclable materials need to be recycled. So basically everything that you already put in your blue cart at home, you are required to recycle in your business as well. So here include hard plastics, paper, cardboard, metal cans, beverage containers. So of course, beverage containers, if you have a program to bring it to a bottle depot and receive the deposit back, that's great. As long as like those containers are not ending up in the garbage, that's fine. For the organics, we have kitchen and table scraps, plant leaves and small branches, food soil paper products, and here we include as well the paper towels that we use to dry our hands. So this is a little bit a tricky one, but those paper towels are organic waste. They're not supposed to go to the garbage. So we have as well the coffee grinds and the filter, the tea bags, pizza boxes, which is another tricky one. Pizza boxes, they usually are greasy or they have cheese stick on that, so they can't be recycled. They are supposed to be put in the organic bins. And then for garbage, you have glass, plastic bag, paper drink cups, which is another tricky one. Those paper cups, they usually have a wax on that prevent it to be composted or recyclable. Coffee pods as well, they're not recyclable. Mixed packing, so like gift wraps, styrofoam. And also, if you are not sure about what you recycle, what goes where, you can always check our waste wizard. It's also available in the Loop app. I will show here to you how it works. So you can just come here to the waste wizard and let's say, I don't know how, cheap bags, where should I put it here? And then I can check it goes to the garbage. But let's come back to the presentation. So here, those are the materials that are minimum requirement. But of course, some business may have options for recycling, let's say glass or plastic film, then it's great, they should recycle it, but they're not required to. So the requirement is that you recycle and send for the organics, the same materials that residential programs do. And then we have the surcharge materials. The surcharge materials are a little bit different of the ins and outs. The surcharge materials are materials that if arrive in the landfill, if a load arrive in the landfill, and this load has 25% or more of those materials, the entire load receive a $50 per ton surcharge. So those surcharge materials, we call also designated materials, are paper, cardboard, recyclable wood, the construction materials, and now we are including the organics as well. So we are starting with the inspections at the landfill for organics next month, but we are going to provide a grace period until September 5th, so business have time to adapt. And then starting September 5th, the surcharges will also be applied for organics if a load arrives in the landfill and has 25% or more of organics. And then, as I mentioned, we have some tools to help business. So in our webpage, in lethbridge.ca/business waste, you can find a number of tools that can help you to abide with all the requirements of the bylaw. I will open our webpage here, and I will show some of those tools that we have available. So first, we have our guide. Probably most of you have already received this guide, as we have mailed it to you, a physical copy with a letter. But for any reason you didn't receive it or you lost it, you can also always check this guide here with all the information about the programs. Okay, let me come back here to our main page. Here we go. So we also have here the waste bylaw. So if you wanted to understand every detail of the bylaw, you can check it out here. And then we have the retract reporting portal. So this is the reporting that I have just mentioned. The first one will be due just next year, so don't worry about it now. We have a link here, although I'm not going to open this link because this is the link for the survey of 2023 for 2024, specifically for business. This report is also used for multifamily buildings, but for the business specifically next year, going to change a little bit. So just show here to you, one sec, how it should look like. So basically this report, you're just gonna input here some information about your business, some high level information about your business, and then the person responsible for that. And then finally, you're gonna tell us which waste streams you are generating in your business. So what does it mean? If your business generates organics, recyclable materials, if you're generating any of the construction materials, if you have a collection separated for cardboard or paper. So here you may have a collection only for cardboard. This may be interesting for some business, but you're not required to. You can just collect it with the recyclable materials, mix it. So you're gonna tell us which waste streams you have in your business, and then you're gonna tell us who is the hauler for those waste streams. Here I have, for example, property manager, landlord. This is an option that will be mostly used for business that are in a mall or street mall and have their waste managed by their landlords. Or you can name here who is the hauler who is managing those waste streams for you, which can be the same hauler for all the streams or can be different haulers as well. This is a business option. If you select here that the property manager manage your waste, we ask you to tell us who your property manager is. And then in the sequence, you just have several acknowledgements that you're gonna check that you are aware and you're complying with all the requirements of the bylaw. You're gonna tell us how you have been training your staff. And finally, here, you're just gonna upload some pictures to prove that you have implemented all those waste diversion strategies that are required. So let me come back here now to my presentation. Not this one. Okay. Just one sec here. Oh, here, oh, sorry. Okay. So, oh yeah, I have another tools to show in our page as well. Actually, let me come back here to our page. Here. Here we go. So we also have here in our website a tool that you can use to find a hauler. This is something we have developed with Environment Lethbridge. So if you come here, you have a list with all the haulers that are working here. They can provide with the service. And then here you can see what kind of services they are providing. So if you're looking for organic hauler, you can check all those haulers, and you can contact them, shopping around, and decide which one is the best for your business. So here's something important. Even if you are if you have your garbage collected by the city of Lethbridge, we are not automatically providing you with with an organic or recycling container. So it's your responsibility to hire a hauler for recycling or organics, which, as I said, can be any hauler of your choice. You can decide who you want to haul all those strings for you. And so I'll just come back to our page here. The next tool that we have available is the Recycling Organic Sign Maker. As I said, is a requirement of the bylaw that all your receptacles have proper signage. So if you don't have a signage, you can just come here and make one. So let's say you want to make a recycling sign, you can make customized signs here. You can decide which are the materials that are more generating your business and put it here. So let's say like paper, cardboard, and this plastic container. Once I've done that, I can create a PDF, and then I can just print this sign and put in my bin. You are abiding with all the requirements for sign that the bylaw says you need to. You can also do that for organics, for the garbage, and even for refundables. And again, you're not required to use our signs. They are just here to help you. If you don't want to use, if you don't want to worry about signs, you can just print one and put in your bins. As I said, we're going to have a staff training video available here in our website as well. We are still finalizing this video, so it's not here yet, but will be soon. And also you can check the business waste diversion if you want more information. Okay, so those are the tools. And here are the next steps now for the mandatory organics. So we have started accepting organic materials in our brand new organic processing facility at the landfill now, January 1st. As you can see, this is our new facility. Next month, you're going to start with the inspections for the loads that arrive there to check if they have organics. So if more than 25% of the material that arrive has organic, we will issue a note, but we're not going to charge anything yet. And then September 5th, the grace period start, and we indeed will start charging for organic materials if they are above this threshold of 25%. And next year, January 31st, is the first due date for the annual report, as I has just shown you. So yeah, I think in a kind of a high level, this is what I would like to present. As you know, you can always find more information on our website or call 311. And now I'm here open for questions. Thanks so much.
If anybody has any questions on the program or implementation on the program, if you wouldn't mind just raising your hand so we can call on you, or you can also enter them in the chat and we can read them out. Oh, and actually we've got one here. Is there any way a business can just drop off their organics recycling, or do we have to hire someone? Business able to drop it off themselves?
Yes. Well, in theory, you could haul it to the recycling facility, to the landfill, but I think like for very small amounts, that's not something feasible. Yeah, if you are generating like a ridiculous small amount of organics, I would say you can bring it and use your recycling organic bin. If it's really like small and if you can handle it with your residential bin, that would be fine. But otherwise, you would have to hire someone.
And another question here. Does the city offer containers or do we have to purchase our own?
So the containers that we're gonna like the hauler will haul, they will provide to you most probably. So the city is one of the haulers that you can hire. But as I mentioned, as I showed, there is a number of haulers, and different haulers will have different policies. So you have to check with the haulers which is the best option for you. The internal one, the containers that you're gonna use inside your business, those ones you need to buy and you need to provide them with the proper signature.
If we are a renter, or if a business is a renter, is their landlord required to take care of this?
Yes, so if you're a renter, theoretically, you still will need to send the report because you still need to show and prove us that you have implemented the waste diversion inside your store. So you have the source separate bins inside your store. But as I mentioned, then when you go to the hauler, you're gonna say that your hauler or that your waste is managed by your landlord. So your landlord, in theory, have to provide you with options to dispose of separated the recyclables, the organics, and the garbage.
Can we use compostable bags in the organics bin?
Well, right now, what our facility can deal with is with paper bags. So you have to use paper bag, anything that says compostable plastic or like compostable cutlery, those kind of things. Unfortunately, our organic facility cannot decompose, so we cannot accept that in our facility. Although something that I haven't mentioned is that our facility will have also buy a depackager, which means that exclusively for the ICI sector, we are able to accept organic materials in packages. But then you have to deal with your hauler first, because it's are different streams when they arrive in the landfill. If they need to go to the depackager, which means they have some plastic or some package that they need to be removed first, or if they are all only organic material. And of course, the tipping fee to receive those materials is different. So you would need to deal with your hauler first. But the simple question, like the simple answer is no, use paper liner always.
And which category will we use for feminine hygiene products or diapers?
Diapers, it's garbage. Yes, like and anything that has any kind of like human excrements or something, it's go to the garbage.
We've got a few more questions here. Clarification on the number of receptacles needed. If we have a small garbage can in each office, do we have to have recycling containers in every individual office?
Sorry, I miss your question. If you have what?
Yeah, so if each individual person's office has a small garbage can, does that mean each individual office needs a recycling and organics container?
Yes, that's also an option of your business. So if you are willing to provide a garbage container to every individual office and to every individual employee, yes, they need to have a small recycling and compostable bag there as well. The bylaws say anywhere where organics or recyclables are generated, they need to have the same convenience of garbage. So I can even show what we have here for the city hall. We have those ones. So we have those hanging ones for organic and for waste, and the recycling one. But the business can also decide to not have individual bins anymore and just have a centralized one. So if you're not offering garbage in every single office and just a centralized station and people have to walk there, that's fine. What you can't is have garbage in every office, but just one centralized recycling station.
And let's see here. Actually, we have a question here from Bridge City News. Felipe, are you able to turn off your screen sharing for just a moment.
Oh,
They would like to
okay.
they'd like to get your answer to this question for their broadcast. So let me just pull that back up.
Okay.
I'll pop that out so I can see it. There we go. Um, so when was the organics facility started, and what do you expect in terms of being able to keep up with demand from the new green bins around the city?
So the organic facility, to be honest, we are still finalizing commissioning that. So it has just started, so has just get finalized, and it has been planned to deal with organic from ICI sector and for the residential. So it's a brand new facility and has plenty of capacity to deal with both.
And a question here around the cost. So we've had a couple of questions surrounding this.
Mhm.
So there are going to be upfront container costs and ongoing hauler costs to the businesses. Are there any incentives? Is there an incentive program for businesses to participate in this?
Yeah, so actually, hauling organics and hauling recyclables will always be cheaper than garbage, right? Because the tipping fee, which means what the haulers pay when they arrive in the landfill, is less for organics and for recyclables than to garbage. So actually, if you plan properly, you probably can decrease the frequency of the collection for garbage, or even decrease the size of your bin, and have then replace it by the organics and the recyclables. With what, in some cases, if you generate a large amount of organics, let's say a restaurant, for example, you can even have your waste bill going down because it's cheaper to hire somebody to haul your organics, right? So it's all a matter to really plan and to understand what your waste look like. And it can be simple as like you just looking your bin, making some calculations and kind of figuring out how much of your garbage is really like, how much of your waste is really garbage, organic and recycling, and proper adequately, what kind of services you're gonna hire, or we have services even like hire a professional that can be a waste audit to you and go through that. But yes, I think that's how you should do that to not see your waste bill go up.
Now, for a small business of one or two people, are they able to use their home containers, or do they have to arrange for a hauler if they're
Yeah,
only generating a small amount of organics?
yeah. So as I said, the bylaw requires you to not mix that with the garbage. So if you're really generating a very small amount and you have space in your residential bin to dispose of that amount of organics or the recyclables, that's fine. You still would need to have in your business the proper bins with the proper signage. But then when you go to the hauler, you're gonna say that yourself are hauling that organic or that recyclables, and you're placing that in your residential bin. If you have space in your residential bin, if you're not gonna compromise your residential bin, there is no problem.
And let's see here. So as a business, obviously, if you've got your containers for hauling in areas that are accessible by the public, what happens if you do have people outside your business put things in there that are not organic or recyclable items?
Okay, so the bylaw here are just saying you need to have a system to divert waste, but we are not checking the final. So we are not checking your bin to see uh, if there is any contamination. Of course, as I said, if the contamination is too high and it can be more than 25% of the entire loads that a hauler brings to the landfill, it may be surcharged. But what the bylaw really aims here is that business implement those waste diversion strategies. They train their staff, they have available for their staff, easy to understand it to use diversion containers, but we are not really checking what is in that container. So if you have some people that are disposing something they are not supposed to in your bin, you wouldn't receive any kind of penalty.
And we've got a question here. What about construction demo when it's a dump trailer of mixed materials?
Yeah, so as I said, the construction material specifically, we have already those surcharges in place for quite a while. So if a construction material being arrived in the landfill, mix it, it will be surcharged. And but the requirement, as I just said, is that they have separate containers for all those recyclable materials as well. So they have to follow the same principles of the business and everything that I have explained. Of course, I have been tailored this presentation more for the business sector, but for the C&D sector, it's exactly the same.
And Felipe, are you able to kind of run down some of the main items again that people would be putting in their green bins?
Yeah, sure. I can try to share my screen again.
No, I think Bridge City News was actually just looking to get you kind of giving a bit of an explanation of that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So what kind of materials you want to put in your green bins? Basically, everything that's organic. So food scraps, and then paper and kind of paper that's not clean and has no chemical products on that. It goes to the green bin. So paper towels that we use to dry our hands, pizza boxes, and then also yard waste go to our green bin. So yeah, I think high level, basically, that's what go to the green bin. But as I said, again, if you have question about a specific material, you can always use our waste wizard. You can just type the material there, and then you're gonna understand what goes where. But our green bin can even deal with like bones, meat, fish. It's really like everything that's organic.
Perfect. We've got a question here from Mint Smartwash. So we have 20 designated garbage spots outside for customers near each vacuum stall.
Mhm.
Are they going to be required to change their layout for each garbage bin so there's 2 other bins?
No. What the bylaw says here is that you need to provide those waste diversion strategies for your employees, contractors, and visitors, but you're not really required to provide it to your customers. So whatever like is only public facing, you can still just have the garbage. You don't need to have those waste diversion strategies implemented, but you have to make sure that everything that is like on your manufacturing process or for your employees, those are the ones that you need to provide with those solutions. Of course, if you are able to provide for your customers as well, that would be wonderful, but you're not required to. So the same, let's say for a restaurant, and like, of course, some plastic containers in a restaurant will be soiled with food, which would not be able to be recycled, right? Because for recycling, it needs to be clean. So a restaurant wouldn't require to have a recycling bin for their customers as well. But everything that's prepared in the kitchen and everything that the employees generate, those are the ones that need to be diverted.
And now we have a question around the consequences for that are built into the bylaw, specifically around reporting requirements. So are there fines or surcharges that may be levied?
Yes, actually, the bylaw brings us a list of penalties that can apply and yeah, and tickets that could be issued. But again, our main goal here, what we are here for, is to help business. So if you are struggling with anything of the process, you can reach out to us. We will help. we will first try to reach out to you if you're not abiding and understanding what's the problem, see how we can help you. But yes, eventually, if you are consistently failing to deliver what the bylaw asks you to do, there are some penalties that can be applied, yes.
And just for clarity, plastic bags are still allowed to be used in garbage cans. It would just be in the organics, correct?
Yes, sure. Like for the garbage, you can use the plastic bags, no problem. But you can't put plastic bags neither in organics or in recycling, because unfortunately this material cannot be recycled in our MRF, in our material recovery facility. And also, even if it says biodegradable or compostable, our organic facility cannot deal with this material. So we are not accepting that yet.
And typically, I believe there are paper bags that you can purchase
Oh yeah,
for
sure.
the organic
Yes.
bins. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Here in the city hall, we use those, even those very big paper bags
Yeah.
that we can use for the organic bin.
Okay. Well, it looks like as of right now, just one more question or a couple more questions that are rolling through here. So food soiled plastic containers, those would be garbage, I believe, correct?
If generated by the clients, yes. But like if you're generating that in your like, let's say your restaurant, and you're generating that to prepare your food, we would expect you to like rinse it and put in the recycling.
Okay. Let's see here. Can't recycle.
I think I see here saying you can't recycle
Yeah.
plastic bags. Is there any point? Yes. So what's the problem? Because it doesn't mean we can't recycle. That's not a recyclable material. Plastic film is a recyclable material. The point is we have a facility, an automated facility here that automatically separate materials. And unfortunately, the plastic bags just get wrapped in our machinery and damage our machinery. So our automatic sorting machine cannot sort the plastic bag. But if you bring to the recycling depot and you have a load only of plastic bag, we don't need to send this material to the sorting facility, and then we can still recycle them. So the problem is mixing plastic bag and glass with the other materials, because our automated sorting facility cannot deal with those materials, although those materials are still recyclable. So that's why when I was explaining what's the ins and outs, I said that what I said was the minimum requirement. But again, if you are industry and you're generating a lot of plastic film, you are able to have a hauler just collect your plastic film, and then it's a recyclable material. Unfortunately, it's mixed with recycling, we cannot recycle.
And when I believe it did pop up on one of the final slides, but when does reporting start?
Next year. So only January. Yeah. So you don't need to worry about reporting right now. Even if you access the reporting link in our website, now, it will gonna go to the 2023 version, which is not the most updated version. So January 31st, 2024 is the due date for the first annual report, and then every year by January 31st of the following years.
Okay. Let's see here. So question about the individual garbage cans at your desk. So I guess the first question here, are you no longer able to use garbage bags to contain everything?
I mean, you're mixed. If it's like mixed, no, right? Because you are supposed to separate your organics and recycling, and then it can't go all in the same spot. No.
And how do you get the containers that you showed us that you guys use at your desk?
You mean the one that we use here internally, right? Yeah, I think I'm not the best person to tell you where we bought it from, but definitely if you want to know who we bought it from, I can check it out with my coworkers and I can say you, but you can go to the market and decide whatever provider that are selling those containers. Those ones, yeah, I'm not gonna try, I guess, because I may be wrong, but if you want, you can just reach out to me and I can tell you who sold us these ones.
But just for clarity, they are not being supplied for the program, correct?
No. So we are not supplying anything for the business in regarding of the containers. Again, as I said, oh, I just had here, Bush Systems is who sold our internal containers, but no, we are not supplying. So again, the only thing that haulers will probably supply you are with those outside bins, so the outside carts. So like we have the ones in our residences. If you hire a hauler, this hauler probably will bring you one of those containers which they will use to collect your wastes. But everything that you use internally, you need to purchase that.
Now, question here from a downtown restaurant. So as bins are tipped over and that kind of thing, who would be responsible for, clean up the alley, for example, when if the organics bin is tipped over?
Well, I would say you are responsible for the bin that's for you, right? So I understand that maybe sometimes like somebody else can tip it or can dispose wrong materials in that bin. As I said, again, we are not checking your bin, so we are not checking what's there, but ultimately you are responsible for your bin.
And as of right now, that looks like that's brought us to the end of the questions. We just want to give another moment or so to see if anybody has any questions that they'd like to ask.
Yeah. As I said, if anybody has any other questions in the future that was not covered here, you can always call 311 and we'll be more than happy to call you back and explain whatever you need.
Wonderful. So it looks like that brings us to the end of our questions here. Oh, we've got, sorry, one more. Where would shredded paper go?
It can go to organic, or you can have a shredding, like it can be either recycling or organic. So if you have a sharing paper that collects your sharing paper, it probably will be recycled, but you can also dispose it with organics. It's for our mixed recycling, it's too small, it can be separate as well.
Wonderful. So it looks like that is ultimately the end of the questions that we've got here. Again, anybody with any more questions that come up, please feel free to contact the chamber office and we can try to help you with some clarity, or you can also call 311 to speak directly to the city. I'd like to thank Felipe for the presentation today on the upcoming organics and recycling program. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more questions that pop up in the interim, but like I said, please feel free to reach out to the chamber office. We would be happy to help you find as much clarification as we can. But we'd like to thank everybody for having attended. Again, if you have any further questions, please reach out to the chamber office.
Thanks so much for the opportunity as well. It was a pleasure. Anytime you need me to come here and give further explanations, will be a pleasure. And I also would like to extend, we will have on still this week on the 18th, we have the community conversation in NMAX. We'll be present there. So if you have any other questions and you want to discuss one-on-one I will be there present, and we'll have on the 31st, 3 to 7 here in the City Hall an info session as well to discuss that with the community. So if you have any other questions and you want to come for a one-on-one, it will be a pleasure to meet any of you. Thanks a lot.
Wonderful. Thank you, Felipe. And
Yeah.
with that, we will give everybody back about 10 minutes of their day. Thanks for joining us and have a great day, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.